On September 1st, 1980, Sports Illustrated predicted this team would not finish among the top 25 in college football. Both wire service polls failed to select Notre Dame as a member of their preseason top 10. 1980 was to be a year of mediocrity in South Bend. How wrong the experts were. Week by week, the Fighting Irish answered those predictions and turned 1980 into one of the most exciting and unpredictable seasons in the long and storied history of Notre Dame football. They were young. The offense was depleted by graduation. They didn't have a quarterback. Their schedule was too tough. Dan Devine heard all these comments as he prepared for his 6th and final season as Notre Dame's head coach.
I think we were underrated somewhat. I was optimistic about the season. We had a good spring practice, and the squad showed signs of gelling into a very spirited, team-like ball club.
Yes, there was cautious optimism on the Notre Dame campus about 1980, as this unproven Irish squad tackled one of its toughest schedules ever. Purdue was first, a matchup of two veteran coaches relying on two untested quarterbacks. The Irish defense welcomed freshman Scott Campbell to big-time college football. After weeks of speculation, Mike Corey emerged as Notre Dame's starting quarterback. The senior from Sioux City, Iowa, performed skillfully, completing more passes in this game than in 3 previous years at South Bend. Corey took the Irish to 17 quick points, then had to respond to the challenge of a Purdue comeback.
We jumped out 17-0 lead in the first half, and then right before halftime, Purdue came back, scored a touchdown and a field goal to make it 17-10 going in the locker room. And we came out in the third quarter, and we received the kickoff, and it was a very important drive. On the second play, we had a play-action pass where I threw long to Tony Hunter. The cornerback made one false step, and I saw that, so I just threw it up, and Tony ran underneath it. And then we had a third down inside the 10. We had a quick slant play called, but the defense was set up where we couldn't get that, so Tony made an adjustment, and I read it, and we scored on the play. And I think if we hadn't scored on that drive, it would have been a lot closer ball game going down to the wire.
And going down to the wire, Corey's scrambling made sure it wasn't close.
After I made my fake, I looked over towards the end, and I saw that containment was blocked right away. So right then, I just yelled go, which means for the lineman that I'm going upfield. And I just got down inside the 5, and there's one guy, and I made a move on him. And just next thing I knew, I was in the end zone. It was exciting.
Playing his first full game at Notre Dame, an excited Mike Corey helped the Irish storm into the national top 10. The one-sided drubbing of arch-rival Purdue was a much-needed confidence builder for this young Irish squad. The intensity continued. In 5 previous visits to South Bend, the Wolverines of Michigan had never lost. The Irish didn't like that one bit. They and their fans were ready. Sophomore Phil Carter cut through the tough Wolverines for over 100 yards. And Corey found Pete Houlihan as Notre Dame salved the highly rated Michigan defense early. But the eventual Big Ten champions stung the Irish with their own explosive firepower. And the Green Machine had to start all over again. This time, the defense gunned down the visitors. John Krim skittered through the Wolverines like the track star he was in high school. And Notre Dame recaptured the lead. But this game wasn't over yet. Incredibly, Michigan scored again, leaving only a scant 41 seconds for Notre Dame to find a miracle. Freshman Blair Keel came in to pass, and Irish fans will never forget what followed.
Houlihan, flank to the right, Hunter out to the left. Locke starting to run. Keel back to throw. Looking, throwing long, trying to get Hunter. Hunter makes the grab. No, he lost the ball. Flag on the play. There's going to be a flag on the play, and Schembechler's on the field. And it's going to be first down Notre Dame at the Michigan 48, a 32-yard penalty. Keel back to throw. Looking, dumps it over the middle. Carter's got it at the 45, in the open field at the 40. Knocked out at the 39-yard line. It won't be a first down. They'll have to stop the clock. Back to throw. Has the time. Looking. Throws. Sideline. Hunter made the catch. And this is it. Harry O gets the call.
Feel pressure before I go out on the field. Once I'm on the field, I don't think about anything except watching my tee and kicking the ball.
Left-footed soccer-style kicker. The ball to be spotted down by Cagle at the 41. A 51-yard boot. This is the ball game. The kick is up. It is good! Good! He made it! A 51-yard field by Harry Oliver, and Notre Dame has won it 29-27 as time runs out.
I'd always wondered to myself if, I guess all kickers have, if they could ever win a game in the last few moments. It's sort of the dream of every kicker, I suppose. And it was my dream, and it came true, and it was the culmination of just a great team effort, and it was the greatest moment in my life. It was just fantastic.
The ball club is being absolutely inundated by fans. The stands are pouring onto the football field. A 51-yard field goal by Harry Oliver. His kick was right there, just there in time. Notre Dame with a miracle win as the clock runs out. 29-27, Notre Dame over Michigan.
Michigan State was primed to bring the high-flying and now 7th-ranked Irish down to earth. But a Tom DiCiano interception, a super 5-play goal line stand, and Harry Oliver's 4 field goals kept it tight. Notre Dame's running game untightened it. 254 yards by Phil Carter was just 1 short of Vegas Ferguson's all-time school record. Combining the instincts of a halfback and the power of a fullback, Carter left a fleet of sprawled-out Spartans in his wake. With their 3rd straight victory over a Big Ten opponent, the Irish were off to their best start in 5 years. Now the schedule got tougher. Against unbeaten Miami, 18-year-old Blair Keel became the first freshman to start at quarterback for the Irish in 29 years. Confidently, Keel responded to the challenge. The depth and unity of this close squad was never more evident as top rusher Phil Carter turned up on crutches. The call went out to Carter's roommate, senior Jim Stone. A friendly rivalry between these 2 runners had helped keep Stone ready for just such a moment.
At the beginning of the year, Phil and myself got together, and we knew that there would be a lot of, fierce competition between the 2 of us. And we wanted it to keep it something that would be meaningful for the both of us. And we just decided that we would push each other, and that at some time during the season we would probably both get a chance to make different contributions. When my turn came, you know, I was really ready.
Yes, Jim Stone was rolling. .224 yards against the top defense in the country at stopping the run. Stone's brilliant performance, paired with Carter's 254 yards a week earlier, marked the first time in history two Notre Dame runners gained over 200 yards on successive Saturdays. The 7th-ranked Irish threw a caravan of runners at their puzzled visitors, and fullback John Sweeney piled into the eye of this hurricane for big chunks of crowd-pleasing satisfaction. On the road to their best season in 13 years, Miami found no sympathy at South Bend. Their pro-style attack was paralyzed by the aggressive Irish defense. And the game breaker came from senior tri-captain Tom Gibbons.
Well, we were in a zone coverage, and Bob Crable tipped the pass, then I tipped the pass, then he tipped the pass, and I caught it, and headed over to the right sideline. And the defensive people formed a really good wall and just led the way to the end zone.
Tom Gibbons' 53-yard touchdown sealed Notre Dame's 32-14 victory and provided academic All-America Gibbons an opportunity to reflect on life at Notre Dame.
It's really a special thing here at Notre Dame. I don't think any other school has it in the country. The academics is excellent here, as everybody knows, but also the athletics. Notre Dame is known for its, fine athletic teams to put out on the field. And because of that, it just makes it special. There's a certain specialness about it that you can't really experience unless you've been here to understand it.
Notre Dame Stadium's 37th consecutive sellout watched the 5th-ranked Irish turn the visitors from West Point every which way but loose. 2 pass interceptions. A pitch out ruined by Joe Rudzinski, picked up by Don Kidd. A Bob Crable hit and a Tom DiCiato recovery. Sure, the Irish offense got in their licks. Tony Hunter's wide-open versatility kept Army guessing. And hard-running Jim Stone added 122 yards to his multiplying numbers. But this 30-3 success was a day for guys who like to rumble. And when John Krim blocked this punt and Mark Zavagnin claimed it, little did this celebrating defense realize that by not allowing Army a touchdown, they had begun a streak that would put them in the Notre Dame record book. Unheralded in August, it was now October, and this Irish team had become a national power. Notre Dame began a 4-game road swing under the Arizona moon. A surprise maneuver worked out between Dan Devine and Blair Keel turned a close game around.
The second time we punted, Coach Devine told me that to watch, and he might send in a signal to run around that end, the left end, because they were rushing an awful lot. I just happened to look over there, and he motioned with his left hand for me to go around that end. When I got the snap, I took a step forward and went around the left end, and there was nothing but white shirts in front of me all the way down. It was that's quite a sight to see.
Keel's 80-yard romp jolted their hungry Pac-10 hosts and put the outcome in the capable hands of the Notre Dame defense. That's all the urging the likes of Tim Marshall, Joe Gramke, John Hankert, and All-America Bob Crable needed. Dave Dewerson's steal solidified a splendid team effort, as the third-ranked Irish strengthened the interest of the major bowls, holding Arizona to just 3 points while scoring 20 themselves. As the Irish visited the Meadowlands for their annual clash with Navy, one of the 5 bowl-bound teams Notre Dame would face, the importance of the young but maturing offensive line became more and more evident. Its only real veteran was senior tri-captain John Scully.
We have depended on a lot of young guys. Right now we have 3 sophomores in there on the starting line. So we've had to kind of ignore the fact that we've been inexperienced. We just rely mostly on our ability and our faith in each other as a unit.
That vital unit of Mike Shiner, Randy Ellis, Tom Thayer, Phil Pozderac, Bob Berger, and All-American John Scully kept the awesome ground attack at its peak. They sprang Jim Stone for 211 yards, and this senior became the first Notre Dame runner ever to gain over 100 yards in 4 consecutive games. On the way to a 33-0 victory, the Irish escort service led Ty Barber's assault on the end zone. And helped Pete Buchanan tunnel through tacklers for 6 more. Harry Oliver found the range on his 14th and 15th field goals of the season and celebrated a new Notre Dame record. On defense, senior Scott Zedek sunk 4 Navy runners behind the line and proved to be the heart and soul of this gutty unit that had not given up a touchdown through 3 games.
We play with a lot of zest. We play aggressive. Coach Devine at the beginning of the season said that he would like this to be the most aggressive Notre Dame defense in recent history, and I think we've achieved that.
The Irish were unbeaten and #1 in all of college football as they marched into Atlanta. For the 4th straight game, the defense built a steel wall in front of the goal line. Linebackers Bob Crable and Joe Rudzinski, number 51, kept a bead on Georgia Tech's every move. Trailing 3-0, the Irish defense halted each Tech bid for an upset. And freshman Stacy Torrens' alert interception led to the all-important tying field goal. Harry Oliver's left foot sent the pigskin twisting and turning 47 yards through the Georgia sky. And the Irish, fit to be tied, escaped Atlanta with a 3-3 deadlock. Still undefeated, with Alabama straight ahead. Needless to say, the Irish were not too popular in Birmingham. Both teams harbored championship dreams, and this struggle would remove one from the hunt. It was the game of the year for college football's 2 winningest active coaches.
The magnitude of this game will never be increased in my mind or in the mind of the players or in the mind of millions of Notre Dame fans all over the world. The best way I could describe it would be that the intensity was so great by both teams that you could almost cut it with a saw.
The Irish did the initial cutting. a jackhammer All-America named Scott Zedek set the tempo for an emotion-filled afternoon. And the 250-pound senior, who had fought off injuries his entire career, came back to make the key defensive play that would break open a scoreless battle.
Everyone has a certain responsibility in an area, and my area is the quarterback. So what I did is I just followed the quarterback, and he missed a handoff with their fullback, and I just fell on the ball. It came right to me. It was no trouble at all. I realized that this could be quite a turning point in the game. I was very excited about it, as was the team.
Close to the Alabama goal, the Irish knew they must punch this one in or lose a golden opportunity. What followed was a play that will rank high in the lore and tradition of Notre Dame football.
It was just a dive play, really designed over the middle, and Phil Carter just leaped over the whole line.
But I remember a couple plays ahead of that, me just banging up in there and diving, not seeing too much room, and I knew I was going to have to dive just to get in there.
From the sideline, it looked like it was a good 2 yards, perhaps even a little bit longer than 2 yards.
I felt someone jump over me and looked up, and Phil was lying in the end zone.
I just remember getting the ball and leaping as far as I could just to get into the end zone.
And I can vividly recall for a fraction of a second thinking that maybe the ball had popped loose because his shoe had come off his foot and had gone into the end zone. He went up with such tremendous tenacity that that shoe just flew off his foot, and you could tell he was going to score when we went over the top, but it was a tremendous individual effort by Phil.
That had to be the most exciting thing I've ever done.
As Irish fans confidently knew, Carter's dive was all Bob Crable and the inspired defense needed.
We knew that they didn't pass the ball that much. They ran a wishbone, and I think the main thing we were trying to stop in that was their fullback and their quarterback. And I thought we did a good job of stopping their fullback. And that's when they started running more to the outside, and the defensive backs did a good job of stopping the outside game.
Outside, inside, overhead, Notre Dame put the Tide offense to sleep. Crable enjoyed 9 unassisted tackles as Alabama was handed its first shutout at home in 22 years. Even the Tide's trick plays were helpless against this menacing defense. Zedek won the ABC Most Valuable Player Award in a game seen by more TV viewers than any regular season contest in the history of college football. Sweet, sweet victory belonged to Notre Dame, along with a bid to the prestigious Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day. It was another big game win for Dan Devine. The Irish had traveled south to bring home one of the most memorable triumphs in a long line of outstanding achievements. A triumph each of the young men who shared in it will not easily forget. A week later, Irish fans welcomed home the team and the coach that all season had fooled the experts. Notre Dame clipped the wings of the Air Force 24-10, as this incredible defense extended the school record to 23 quarters without allowing a touchdown. Both Carter and Stone shared the scoring, and Notre Dame's hopes for an undefeated regular season narrowed down to a dangerous visit to the West Coast. There they ran headlong into a band of fired-up Southern California Trojans, whose entire season was made with an upset of the second-ranked Irish. It gave Dan Devine's final Notre Dame team 9 wins, a loss, and a tie, a record second only to his national championship team of 1977. But the setback at the Coliseum should not blur the accomplishments of this fine Notre Dame team that finished the season with a coveted berth in the Sugar Bowl. Incoming coach Jerry Faust will have a solid nucleus to build another winner, including 1980's most valuable player, Bob Crable. But Faust will certainly miss a large and talented core of seniors who put their imprint on Notre Dame football the past 4 years. On offense, leading runner Jim Stone and blockers Bob Berger, Tim Huffman, Bill Seawee, and John Scully all are seniors, as are quarterback Mike Corey and receivers Nick Beer, Marty Detmer, and Pete Houlihan. On defense, Tri-Captain Tom Gibbons and Tom DiCiato, along with linemen Scott Zedek, Don Kidd, and John Hankard, take their Notre Dame experiences along with them into future pursuits. All of these exceptional young men proudly echo the sentiments of Scott Zedek. 4 years at Notre Dame have been exciting and extremely rewarding.
Well, in my mind, Notre Dame is the epitome of college football. It's the perfect blend of academic excellence and athletic excellence. Playing for Notre Dame for me is, I've been greatly rewarded in many, many areas. I know that when I leave here, I'll have a diploma that's worth something more than at many other universities, and that's the greatest reward, the diploma and being able to participate for the fine tradition.
The torch is passed from the 20 departing seniors of 1980 to the returning hopefuls who will play for the 1981 Irish. The long and undisputed tradition of Notre Dame academic and athletic excellence is certain to continue.